Yeah, Coach, maybe if you could just start with this important initiative that you have been roped into, maybe just with the numbers of GBV going up as high as they are, how important is it for men to have these kind of conversations and be involved in these kind of movements?
I had been so desperate to get to this platform. This is Felicia Ntisa. Because in December, when you looked at December, it was crazy. I couldn't believe it. And I was asking myself, what has happened with us? Is it maybe one is exposed to these things in their bedroom, in your lounge or whatever, or they have really increased? And that level of desperation then led to my excitement in being part of this campaign. It's very important. It's very important to build a band of brothers. It's very important for us as men to take responsibility of building the next generation. And I take great pride in the sense that not only am I invited here to come advocate for a different mindset with regards to gender-based violence and abuse. There should not be any excuse for that. But it also helps me, it molds me. Because when you get associated with initiatives like these, the first thing you ask yourself is that, I should not be part of those who are being reprimanded. So I think we have a primary responsibility, not only as people at our positions where you are exposed to millions, to numbers, people are curious about what's happening. So the shirt that you wear becomes a billboard. It is also a responsibility even to you behind the camera to pass on the message that we build a better society. It is only through positive messages that we can do that, and you play a very important role. We can only be the tools, but you are the drivers.
And also just the involvement of football in this. Maybe if you could also just
As I put it on, if you think of Happy Chele, if you think of Bernard Parker, Ufigo, these guys are billboards, moving billboards. So wherever they go, and apart from moving billboards, they could go to a mall now. They moving past reception, they coming across somebody who reads no excuse. It's gonna be all over, whether in your mainstream media, social media, or wherever. This message is out there. So when you use sports, especially football, because it is a major sport in the country, everybody can easily associate with, and those names can be easily identified with. So when people like those take part, the message gets closer. When Parker tells you that no, with my family I take care of my family, I take care of people at my house, I do this, I do that, they are modeling a Steve Komphela who's somewhere in a shack somewhere, who likes Kaiser Chiefs and likes Bernard Parker, then does something right. So it is our responsibility to role model in more of a positive way, and it should be an obligation. You know what? Something very interesting was said by whether uhappy or ufigo uguti football players must stand for something, must fight for something. If you go back and think of Muhammad Ali was for injustice. If you go back, even Jesse Owen, whoever they are, Simone Biles, you can go to everybody. Even a Didier Drogba in Cote d'Ivoire. Didier Drogba played an important part in terms of building people, bringing people together. What George Weah is doing in his country. So whenever you have an opportunity to say something and you're a sports person, it becomes powerful, it becomes a message. These people must not only be champions on the field, they have to champion certain causes. No excuse is one of those causes which has to be championed, that brothers must build a band and a bond so that the next generations can survive and thrive.
Coach, just to follow up on your direct career, I mean,
Yeah.
the Steve Much Fall was something that was done by the fans.
Correct.
You know, whether they liked you or they didn't like you, it's on their own. But
Yes.
for me, sitting there, it tells me that it left a bitter mark, or
No,
maybe
no.
a bitter taste, or it had an impact on how Steve changes things. Take us through the abuse of sports personalities by their fans, how much you had to endure it.
There's abuse. It's easy to be abused because these guys are just behind the keyboard. You don't see them. Those faces are not seen. Those fingers are just busy. So it's easy for them to throw anything. But the greatest benefit from that, you learn to create a buffer for restraint, and you become a better person. And I was looking at you, listening to you, looking at your lips, saying, I'm a bit bitter. No, I got better than bitter. I would be bitter if I did not understand what was happening. But the fact that I understood exactly where it came from, why it was happening, then I got better. You get better when you expect something that you understand. This is what I mean. Fact that then there was a hashtag fees must fall, a hashtag Zuma must fall, a hashtag Steve must fall. It was normal because society then, what was in their lips, what was just a song to be sing, what was fashionable then, was a song that says hashtag no whatever, hashtag no whatever. So, by virtue of being a sports person, you literally expect that if there's any sort of protest, then it would relate to how protest happens in society and communities. We are nothing else but a microscopic reflection of society. If I'll go back again because citing one example might sound like no, this one is more personal. If you go back to the song Arthur Mafokati, when he saw the song Mnige, Mnige, you know what happened? Whenever the referee was supposed to award a player a yellow card and was reluctant, a song would come from the grandstands. But Mnige, Mnige, so how society was appreciating the song from Arthur Mafokati had an impact and influence in how society wished to influence the referee on the field of play. It is only logical. And when you guys said there can never be a normal sport in an abnormal society, you were saying there can never be normality when there's abnormality in society. So why then expect normality now in abnormality that comes from society when we reflect what society is? That's exactly that. We can't be oblivious and we can't be hypocrites. We have to be realistic and face facts as they are. And if I'm the one to speak about what happened in Mabida, and when they say, hey, Steve must go, Steve must fall, it is only logical and relevant because it was happening in society. That's the society we come from, Mashats. If a player comes to the training ground drunk, I don't look at the player. I have to remedy and correct society because that player reflects society. If you have a society of drunkards, expect drunkards from players. And if society is perfect and you find imperfect players, then you look at the imperfection of the player. There's something wrong with that because our society is perfect. So we have to correct the society and point a finger at society. Kaufel Haruna, none of us is out of it. And why only blame Steve Komphela because he went into the center drunk? Where does he come from? Was he drinking alone in his bedroom? No. He was drinking with friends. The friends were drinking in the community. The community was not sleepy. But why then do you want this one to come up clean when it comes from an environment that is muddy and dirty? That's hypocrisy.
Coach, I think let's take advantage that you're here to talk a bit of football.
Why Mahlatsi football? What would you? Okay.
Yeah. There's been a new regime at Sundowns now, and you are part of it. I just want to check how has it been the first few weeks under Coach Cardoso? What type of person is he, and what are you guys have been up to behind the scenes when nobody's watching?
I would love to field these questions, but I think again it is only proper and very professional of me first to acknowledge Shupi, our media liaison officer, is not here, and fielding questions of this nature that deal directly with the club obviously would need the involvement of the club and the council and so forth. But all in all, listen, everything is okay. Everything is perfect. We're doing as much as we can, working extremely hard. But everybody knows what happens at Mamelodi Sundowns. At Sundowns, you can win, and you have to win in a particular way. It's fact. So there's nothing different from the expectation. But there's just a lot of hard work, one I must confess. A lot of hard work, a lot of focus on aspects that need to be rectified and improved and corrected. And I wish one day you will come where we have a session where we break this down away from the no excuse so that we don't steal and take their platform and limelight. But everything is perfect, Mashatsi.
You spoke about the derby on the stage there.
Yeah.
It's happening this weekend. You've played
I
the derby,
have
you've coached the derby, you've done everything with the derby.
the atmosphere is crazy. I have only one wish, that there must be a result on the day. Nyazu ya.
You've played this game.
Okay.
You've coached this game.
Okay.
You've been in a bus to the hotel
Okay.
on the eve of the game.
Okay.
Just take us through the whole process that a Steve Komphela would be doing if he was at Kaiser Chiefs coaching them.
No words can explain that. It's like someone asking you, how does Coca-Cola taste? How do you explain that? It's sweet, that's not enough. It's got sugar, that's not enough. It's nice, that's not enough. It is something that you need to live that experience to really understand it. And even with that understanding, when they say to you, can you explain to us? You will never explain. It is electrifying. Sometimes it can be energy consuming. It can also be intimidating. But the biggest of them all is that to go through that experience with awareness, alertness, and consciously absorb as much as you can, because after that experience, you need to have ways to explain it. Still today, I can't explain. I've been through a few of them, but the energy is amazing. When you go into FNB at 90,000, just the sound is like there's bees inside there. The level of focus gets affected. And when players come out and then you feel the cheer or the jeer, is another world. It is something you can never explain, but it is an experience and an energy that if you're part of it, you can never forget.
Coach, yeah, I think you've been doing this for a while now.
Yes, sir.
What maybe would you attribute your longevity in this coaching?
Longevity, consistency is staying true to your values, stay true to who you are, irrespective circumstances. That's it. And I'm myself throughout. Consistency is longevity. And consistency, longevity, you owe it to commitment, irrespective circumstances. I'll tell you why I'm saying this. Because using words without attaching meaning to them is meaningless. If you look back at how I would respond to Mahlatse, respond to Shaba, respond to any media person, it's the same irrespective where I'm at. I try maintain a natural posture and position and be committed to the job and try be at a position where you say, I want, when I leave football, when they look back, they must say, no, we once worked with this guy. This guy would never. I worked at Chiefs for 3 years, not even once I ever got late. Never. First one in, last one out. Honor, integrity, and respect. And you go in there, you work. If you go to the youth, you must know all those players. Give the best that you can, share your knowledge and information. Be consistent, be committed, and it will guarantee longevity. The biggest mistake that we make is for instant gratification, and we look into smash and grab. There's no longevity in there. It may come very slow, but it is only in honesty where you find longevity. If you're honest enough with yourself, you'll stay longer. So I always stay true to myself.
If I can just link the current situation that we have in the country with the young players and looking at this campaign, just to go back to it. I mean, you've got Mabena there, Koza, they've got Shabalala, they've got Milagazi, there's Relebuhile, and all of that.
Yeah.
How beautiful would it be that all these kids, with time allowing, become part of such a campaign, because their peers are still learning the wrongs that we are doing.
The beauty of it, Shaba, the campaign now is escalating to a level where they say, now we're moving into the PSL for mentorship programs. They just mentioned that. It's such a great initiative. If you look at the unraveling of all these youngsters, it is purely because of EDDC, because of focus to youth development by the PSL. Now, had PSL not focused on development of these youngsters, you'd never had what we have today. So when they focus again on the mental health, on mentorship, on character, personality of these players, that after they play football, they must then become responsible brothers or a new generation. It's going to have a great impact, man. So we need that. You don't only work on the body, don't only work on the mind, work on the soul. Then you have worked on the complete being. So complete development of these players must be such that at the end of their careers, they can come back and serve in their communities.